The last time I saw these two together, we were on a man panel on The Social on CTV discussing relationships on the royal wedding. It was a fun show talking about something we collectively know very little about. Marriage and relationships.
Hey.
Nabil Karim is a jack of all
I've been married
trades.
for like 7 years. 8 years, actually.
Host Sports Center, an NFL Sunday show, the March Madness Tournament, Raptors broadcast. He represents the West Coast, being from British Columbia. Gurdeep Ahluwalia delivers the news in the biggest market in our country on CB24 here in Toronto. He's a part-time model, a full-time dog dad, a member of the CrossFit cult. Fellas, welcome to the Cabbie Presents podcast.
Hey, thanks. Nice to be here. Did you ever get in trouble, by the way, for all those comments from your
No,
wife?
because I speak that way to my wife all the time. So
Yeah, but there's one thing about-
she knows it's coming anyway. So it's not like I'm saying it behind her back. I'm just saying it on national television.
Which is way worse.
Which is way worse.
Yeah, I got a lot of people, a lot of her friends and stuff, be like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I actually am."
You know that show's primary demo is females, right?
It's kind of crazy being on that show because you get so many different people who are like, "Oh, I saw you on TV," and I'm like, "Yeah, I do that for a living actually on this other channel."
You should be on TV all the time.
Yeah, you were really good on TV that day. I was like, "Thanks."
It is really remarkable how much we'll get hit up just for being on The Social versus what we do normally, sports, news, or whatever. Oh, actually, news is probably different because you're
yeah.
seen all the time.
Why do you think I left TSN? There's too many dudes.
There aren't a lot of, there's a heavy dude ratio at our workplace. Okay, Gurdeep, speaking of which, have you been approached to become the next Bachelor on ABC? And if you are approached, will you accept the offer?
I have not. I don't have an agent. I'm looking for one. So if you have one, absolutely I'd accept, man.
You are like among the people that I know, probably one of the most eligible bachelors. I mean, the dog is clutch. I mean, you are quite handsome.
But is the dog
You
a
are-
prop? I think he's like adding to his game there a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's like HGH.
Like I don't know
it's
if he
like
actually cares about his
HGH.
dog. I know he cares about his dog, but when he actually got the dog, is like the idea of getting a dog just to get to more women.
The dog is not an enabler, okay? I've wanted a dog the whole life. But this I will say, I have never met a better wing person in my life. My wing woman used to be Pooja Honda, my co-host. 'Cause
Right.
She's the best. She'll warm up a crowd in the bar. You do her thing, get them all laughing, and then I'll slide in. I don't need her anymore. Because now, no offense, Pooja, I love you. I don't know if she'll listen to this, but Coffee, man. Coffee is the wing person.
That's
She
your
knows.
dog's name.
She knows.
What kind of dog do you have again?
Coffee knows. She's a cockapoo.
Cockapoo.
She's a cockapoo, yeah. She is, I'm telling you, man, in a crowd, she knows
cute
who
dog.
she knows who to go to in a crowd.
Before we continue, let's just quickly listen to a clip from The Social on the man panel.
Hi, my name's Jessica. My question is sex on the wedding night really a must? Why or why not?
Here's a practical advice.
Are you
I
going to
got
make
from-
this on TV? Because you're the married one.
You want me to? Yeah, like,
I can go first. I did not, and I am comfortable saying that. It was a long night. It was a boring, it was an amazing night, but we were not prepared in so many ways. So there's many days afterwards and before.
And I said to my husband, God says we must.
Oh my
And he's like, okay.
God.
we
wife's
did,
like
we
this
did,
right
but
now, right?
I was 1,000% like you, but at the same time, the practical advice we got from so many different people was like, it's a long process. The wedding is really long. You are tired. You may have indulged too much. You know, it's one of those things. So if you don't do it, don't be so disappointed. But yeah, we did.
Hi, my name is Kathleen, and my question for you is, would you let your partner invite an ex to the wedding?
That is a hard no. I'm gonna say I don't want that kind of bad energy there. Also, weddings aren't cheap. I'm not gonna subsidize some jilted ex's drinking
fair.
tab $150
That's fair.
a head at a wedding.
That's a great
I don't
point.
want that. So
Nabil, as the married dude among us, is The Bachelor one of those shows that you have to watch with your wife?
No, but like it's also because our schedules are so different. She does PVR it, so she watches, and then she knows when I come home. If I come home at like a decent time, she'll be like, "Oh, I guess I got to turn the channel." But I let her have it. You know what? She can watch. She can.
But you're not
fantasize.
forced to watch. That's a show that a lot of guys in relationships have to watch on Monday nights if their girls aren't already at a viewing party.
I don't think my wife's that invested, like as far as us to be like, "Hey, you got to watch with me." We kind of have like our own thing as far as like TV shows, so she knows that like I don't have to watch that, but she doesn't have to watch what I watch either, which is
You don't make her watch sports with you?
we don't really watch. Like we watch like a Leafs game, a Raptors game together, but like she likes that stuff. But it's more like other shows that I watch, like How to Get Away with Murder and that kind of stuff. HBO shows,
Right.
The raunchy stuff.
Big in your Shonda Rhimes.
Shout out to Annalise Keating.
Annalise Keating. That's one of my favorite shows besides Power. If you don't watch Power,
Yeah,
you are
I'm all
missing.
in on Power. Do you watch Power?
I do not watch Power.
Dude,
No.
it's the best show. It's the best show on TV.
Okay, wait, we're
Really?
gonna get to our guilty pleasures in a bit.
Okay.
But before we get to our guilty pleasures, viewing parties. One of my moves in a different lifetime was Monday nights. I always knew that there'd be multiple collections of women watching The Bachelor, and I'd be the only dude in there. And then you say a couple jokes during the commercial breaks, or just kind of take shots at Colton, or whoever the Bachelor is, or the people vying for love on this fictional television show. Okay, so for dudes, our viewing parties are a little bit different. We have like playoffs, Super Bowl, or like a fight night. Our viewing party is something you guys plan or host, or if you're invited, you'll go reluctantly, or you'll go like enthusiastically.
Okay, here's the thing. Playoffs, if my team's in, I don't want to socialize. Like I don't
You want
like
to be, it's a solo mission.
There's nothing I hate more than going to like a bar for a meaningful playoff. If it's a Raptors playoff game, a Leafs playoff game, leave me alone. I'm going to watch at my place, ideally by myself, or maybe with one or two buddies who are just as invested as me. I don't want to be around. I don't want there to be food in my face. I don't want pretty waitresses distracting me. I just want to watch the damn game. I'm not a UFC fan. So for UFCs, I'll go to a viewing party because I'm there for the social, being of it. I don't have an NFL team. I'll go to a Super Bowl party because I'm there for the spectacle of it.
Right.
Make sense?
Yes. Okay. Nabil?
All I got was he doesn't want pretty girls in front of him. That's all I got was.
That's where you stop
the
listening?
guy who's going to be on The Bachelor does not want pretty. Okay. That's just a married guy and me picking that out. No, man, I think for like events like that, viewing parties, I like having it at home and I like throwing parties.
Okay.
And I like it because I kind of control the narrative of the party and where it's going to go.
What does that mean?
Because it's like, well, how drunk do we want to get, kind of thing, right? Like I like having drinks and like the socializing aspect of it.
What are you,
If it's
Great
huge-
Gatsby? What's going on here?
Yeah. No, but if it's like, it's one of those things where like sometimes you can go to someone else's party and you're kind of looking around, you're like, oh, should I get another drink? I don't know. I don't want to be the alcoholic here, kind of thing.
Right.
But I kind of want to be. So I have like this thing when people walk in, you got to do a shot of Fireball. We start like that. Everyone's
You guys drink Fireball?
That's the best.
That's the first thing when you walk in.
Fireball.
What are you 18 years old?
And if you're late,
Halifax?
and if you're late, you get a penalty shot. So that's one to walk in, a welcoming shot, and then a penalty shot. And then I just make them up on the fly as we go because you're the host, and everyone's just like, oh God, I hate this guy, but I love him at the same time.
Here's the thing: if you're brown, you drink whiskey.
I love whiskey.
Because,
that's right.
because Nabil's a romantic, he loves his cinnamon hearts as well. You put those two worlds together. That's your Fireball right there. Cinnamon heart whiskey.
Dude.
So you are sort of the arbiter of how lit. Arbiter's maybe not the right word, but you are the quarterback.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term, for how lit the party's going to get.
I was going to say enabler, but yeah. Okay.
Enabler
Yeah,
definitely
probably
works
the
as
right
well.
word. I've heard that before. I've heard a couple different versions of that. But no, I like that. I kind of think it's cool, and I like to get different types of people at the party too. Not, everyone doesn't have to be hardcore fans, which is great. I think when it's too hardcore sometimes, it's annoying. Like I don't want to hear everyone's opinion. I want fans there, but I don't want to like have analysis throughout the whole game.
Fair. Okay, you mentioned hardcore. This isn't what I prepared. It's going to lead me to this. Gurdeep, I mentioned off the top that you're part of this CrossFit cult.
Right.
And for a long time, when I'm looking at your IG stories, I just F45. It's like it's a fitness gym in Toronto. It's probably all over the country.
Shout out F45.
I shout out, and then you were like consistently going like 4 or 5 times a week. My guy he's got these nice triceps.
Oh, we all know about the triceps.
So it's always push-ups. It's always like tricep dips, like just to emphasize the triceps. When you go to these classes, how hardcore are you? And how do you feel about people who are really like double down in this culture and this lifestyle where like it's CrossFit for life and everything else, everybody else can just kick rocks?
Okay, I got two qualifiers before I get into the answer. One, how hardcore am I when the IG is filming, or how hardcore am I when the workout's going? Because for most of the workout, I'm just like this. I'm just doubled over like this. But also, when you guys are going through the IG, how annoyed are you when you see like, oh, this guy's posting again at the gym? Like, get a little more creative. Like, do you just click through my videos? You're like,
No, I'll go through your stuff.
Yeah?
I like it.
Okay.
I always click through when it's the dog. I'm like, I don't want to see the dog. I'm tired of dogs. I just click
Cabbie's
through
like, I want
quickly.
to see the workouts of the girls or the behind the scenes stuff. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much.
That's fair. What was the question again?
How hardcore are
Is-
you? And then like the other people around you who are like really emotionally invested in this lifestyle.
Okay, so here's the thing. You know, with me, my lifestyle, my schedule is insane, right? Like my alarm goes off at 3:15 every morning. So
that's awful.
sleep is my currency, and I'm not a rich man. Okay, so I get about 6 hours a night. So the thing I love about these workouts is I usually go in feeling not the best, but because everyone in the room is so fired up, even
Yeah.
if you're feeling like 70%, they'll pull you up to a 90. Right? And then there are days you go in where you do feel pretty good and you can just crush it. But I'm actually going after we record this podcast. I'm catching the 4:45 class. I'm wiped today. This is my first workout since I came back from vac. I've been eating, churros and stuff
Can
for
I ask
like
you a question?
8 days. So I need a pickup today.
From one brown guy to another?
Yeah.
Like you giving these guys a lot of love, right?
Yeah.
You're not paying for your membership, are you?
I am paying for my membership.
There's no side deal happening here.
This is why I need an agent, man. I don't broker
Dude,
this
you're
kind
brown.
of
There should be a,
You're
there should be a
brown,
side
man.
hustle. Yeah.
I need an agent who's going to get
I for sure
me.
thought this guy's getting 50% off. He's getting it free. They're like, hey, because you're always you're giving them good, free advertising. And I thought, for sure, hey, good on him. But if you're not, that sucks for you, bud.
I need an agent who's going to A, get me a free gym membership, and B, get me on The Bachelor.
Yes.
And the American Bachelor, not the Canadian
Yeah,
one.
that's what I mean.
wanna
Yeah,
be
on
the big one.
ABC. Yeah, you should
Or
be.
get me on the Indian one. More eyeballs there.
What,
Yeah,
globally? I suppose.
Yeah.
But maybe start in the American one. Okay, so when you go to classes, Nabil, and I saw a picture on the gram the other day. You had one of your friends.
Yeah.
You guys had worked. Oh, you guys went to Barry's.
Yeah, he's shameless. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like he's pretty lean
Yeah,
or whatever.
he's lean. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's not like a boxer lean, but like he had enough confidence to be shirtless in the photo.
Why
He's
weren't you
like-
shirtless?
We look a little different. That's why. He's kind of like a malnourished lean. Yeah. Yeah.
So Barry's a great example.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does it bother you when the instructor is overly enthusiastic? Or do you're okay with that and you're going to match this person's energy?
Yeah, I don't mind it, but they can be annoying. I'm not saying Barry specifically. I've been to a couple different types of classes like that. Like you do like Orange Theory or Rumble in the States is amazing. That's the best class I've ever been to, Rumble. It's in the States anyway.
Rumble?
Yeah, it's like a boxing class, but it's got like the Barry's feel to it. I think it's cool to a certain extent. But then at the end of the workout, when you're like dying and they can see you're dying, I don't need you in my face yelling at me. But I need 10 more from you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm good.
I loathe it. Listen, I'm already here. I don't need extra motivation. I walk through the door.
Yeah.
Just give me the instruction. I want to turn my brain off. I want to do 10 dips, go into push-ups, or do some jump
Dude,
squats
I
or
can't
whatever.
understand what they're saying half the time because the
Yes.
music's so loud, and that might be an old guy thing. But like, I can't
Guys, you're
understand
not
what they're
even
saying.
30.
I'm 35.
Are you?
Turning 36.
You guys
Are you 83 as well?
83.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little bit
That's
older than you.
shocking.
You know
I
what?
thought you guys like 27, 28 years old.
Get out of here. Cabs,
In real
I
life.
was
Dude, we're
an
already
intern.
here, man.
Cabs, I was an intern.
We're here, bro.
I was an intern at the Score when you were there. That was like 14 years ago or something. That was like 2006. 13 years ago.
yeah, I guess so,
I would have
yeah.
been like illegal labor at that age.
No, but I thought you were just like a young college. Well, you were, I guess, a young college kid. But I thought you were just like you still look the same. Is what-
That's because I go to F45. Hashtag ad, hashtag sponsor, hashtag not really.
Okay, so a couple of huge trades has happened in sports recently. The biggest one is Odell Beckham Jr. going to
Yeah.
Cleveland. If you're a star in your respective league and you get traded, I have 4 guys. Whose lifestyle do you think has to make the biggest adjustment to their new surroundings? Okay, so these 4 athletes don't have the same level of visibility in the mainstream, but I tried to pick one guy from each sport that's a star. Okay, so you have Blake Griffin going to Detroit. This is in the last 12, 18 months. Odell Beckham Jr. being traded to Cleveland. Eric Carlson and Evander Kane, I'll make them 2 separate deals, but going to San Jose from Ottawa and Buffalo. And then you have Chris Archer, pitcher, going to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So those are the 4. Which guy do you think has to make the biggest adjustment as far as culture goes, just the team, and just the lifestyle? I suppose is the biggest one.
I'll jump in first. I'm gonna say Blake Griffin because the first thing I'm thinking of is climate for one, right?
Right.
Like you're
LA,
going coast, you're going West Coast to the Eastern Time Zone. You're going from LA, where I know it's not the Lakers. He was with the Clippers, but you're still a star, right? And you're a guy
He
like
was a big star there.
he's a big star. And the thing is, it's not like hockey players, hockey dudes, and baseball players. You can blend in more in society. Basketball players cannot, right? No matter where you go, everybody knows exactly who you are, right? Just because of your sheer physical stature. To go from there to Detroit. Now, granted, I haven't been to Detroit in the last few years. The last time I was in Detroit was when it was very gritty. And I know it is still gritty, but Everyone I know who is big on Detroit says it's gone through this crazy revitalization the last few years, kind of like Hamilton, like hipster North. So maybe it's not what I remember.
Hamilton, Ontario has gone through a revitalization?
You haven't heard about Hamilton? Dude, Hamilton is Brooklyn now, apparently. Yeah, it's been gentrified. There's all these hipster... Dude, we'll go out in Hamilton. I'll tell you all about it.
No,
I mean, shout out to Hess Village, but like...
No. Yeah.
All I think is like Jim Taddy when I think Hamilton.
I think it's Simone Lawrence.
He's not a hipster. He's just old.
Yes guy.
Yeah, yes guy is just
Sorry,
old.
we cut you off. Okay, so
Yeah,
Blake,
no, so my answer is Blake on that one for those factors.
Nabil.
I think like for the hockey guys, they could probably blend in a little bit. You know, like nobody really is going to know who they are unless you're a real hockey fan. I think I would agree Blake's a big one. But I still think Odell, just with his status, and he's one of the, 10 most recognizable athletes in the world, maybe.
Probably,
right?
yeah.
Probably, right? He probably fit in that category, 10, 15, something like that. And you go from New York and doing anything you can do in New York. I honestly have not spent a lot of time in Cleveland, so I don't know how bad it is, but I know it's bad from what everybody says.
It's not good.
It's not good. So you spend some time there, right?
Yeah, well, we had, when the Raptors went to the conference finals in 2016.
Well, like, what does one do in Cleveland? Like, what
you
do
just
on
go
your
to the
downtime?
casino. Remember that one story with Corey Joseph and Damari Carroll were seen at the casino too?
Yes.
That's the only thing to do is just go to the casino.
Yeah. Weren't they spotted by, was it Simmons who spotted them? There's someone who spotted them.
Yeah, that was him. He was hanging out. He was lurking outside.
Yes.
No, I think Odell's going to be having a lot of viewing parties at home. Like we talked about, you control your own party because he's going to have to. Because what are you going to do in Cleveland, right?
I'm sure he can drop a
there's
text
cool
to
spots.
LeBron and be like, all right, what's the key to the city here? Like, there's got to be some spots.
But LeBron's
gonna
situation
say to
was
get
very
out.
different, though. His situation was so different. Where he had his family already set, kind of a different lifestyle in a sense, right? I'm sure he still had a lot of fun.
Like, what is the upper brass of Cleveland is what I want to know.
Oof, man, I think it's outside of you're living in some gated community outside
Nabil's pretending he doesn't know about upper brass.
Oh, yeah. Like Brass Rail.
That's what you meant.
Oh, Brass Rail, yeah.
Yeah, the upper brass. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Big Ron.
Yeah. $20, right? Gets you up there. I don't know why everyone doesn't do it. There should just be an upper brass.
Agreed. Okay, so viewing parties. Nabil, I think the first time you popped up on my radar was you were hosting the World Cup coverage, I think 2010 at CBC.
Yeah.
And I was like, who is this cat? Super young. You look like you were 19. And then you're hosting the biggest, it's debatable which is a bigger event, the Summer Olympics or the World Cup, as far as viewers go, as far as attention, all that kind of stuff. But this was you. It's like you on this giant set. I'm like, who is this cat?
Yeah.
And then you guys have both hosted March Madness at TSN, right?
Yeah.
In different years.
Independently and together.
Yeah, actually together a couple times.
Okay, so they're both month-long tournaments. Which one was more of a cram session in the week leading up to that event? The World Cup for you, Nabil, or March Madness for either one of you guys? Because you could speak on both.
March Madness for me to date is the craziest thing I've ever had to prepare for. Like what I do now, you sort of stay on top of the news generally, and you go into work never knowing if it's going to be an insane day or a slow day. With news, it's hard to plan. But in terms of sheer preparation, March Madness is definitely the craziest thing I've ever done. Like I had like a binder and color-coded notes and newspaper cutouts and clippings and.
Whoa, you went analog with your notes, like newspaper clippings?
I'm very tactile, yeah. So I got like an old school notebook and I got the USA Today where they had every team's breakdown. I cut it out.
That's a Jack Armstrong special.
I took the Jack Armstrong approach. Yeah, it was like, I don't know. What about you, Nabil?
I think the World Cup was a lot harder. Like I just think because you don't know a lot of these players from certain countries. And to find information on them. It's easy to find information on Ronaldo, Messi, some of the top 50 players in the world. It's easy. But after that, man, who knows? Like until you have to look these guys up. And you don't know everything on everybody, but you also have to know, like we had a huge booklet. And it had a breakdown of every team, their tactical approach to the game. So you got to know these things too.
Oh, wow.
Like we didn't really need to know that in March Madness. You kind of know teams that press.
That's when you lean on Jack or Sam. Yeah,
and I leaned on the analyst for that too. But at the same time, like going to break, sometimes it's like, okay, this like Bolivian player, like what?
Yeah, right.
How do I pronounce his name?
Yeah, and the names are so hard in soccer. It's unbelievable how hard those names are in soccer. So.
And the thing is too, if you get anything wrong, because Canada's a pretty diverse country, Toronto's such a diverse city. Like if you get anything wrong, there is a faction that will call you out because there's a faction that knows that, right?
Can I tell you a quick story on how I got that, by the way?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah. So like I just got hired at CBC to do like this Hockey Night in Canada online show, which was my big break.
Okay.
I was doing the morning show, which was doing like sports in the morning, the update for that. And
on
then
like
within-
CBC.ca?
Yeah. No, on CBC News Network.
Oh,
right?
nice. Okay.
And then I got hired in April, and then like a month leading up to the World Cup, they're like, "Hey, can you do like a soccer show for us, like online?" I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." Like easy, right? And then about 2.5 weeks before, they're like, "Hey, we're actually going to put it on TV on our specialty channel, Bold." I'm like, "What the hell is Bold?" Like, yeah, perfect. Nobody has this channel. No problem. Whatever. Literally a week before, they told me you're going to be doing the post-game show. I was
and on the main network.
on the main network.
Oh, wow.
I found it a week before because they went through all these changes. I don't know what had happened and who fell out and whatever, but it came down to me. And that show went through so many changes over that month. It was a crazy learning process, man. But yeah, like I went through a lot of shirts during that because I was sweating. Like I definitely underqualified for that, but it was one of those things where you sink or swim, and
That's
swim
TV though.
enough.
That's TV though, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
it's almost better that it happens that way when they just kind of throw you in, because then you don't have that much time to get
Right.
worked up about it.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point because when you have an event, it's coming up in 2 months. You can over prepare almost, which is
Yeah.
not a bad thing, but it can be a bad thing because it can get into your head a little bit, right?
Yeah, totally.
Ooh, man, yeah, you look so composed too. And I was working at the Score at the time. Were you here already?
What year was that?
2010.
I actually met you outside out of one
Yes,
event. That's
it
the
was
first time
during
I
the
met you.
G20.
Yeah,
I was reporting. I was covering the G20,
That's right.
close to Wellington and like Blue Jays Way,
Yeah,
and I
remember
obviously
that.
knew who you were. I had seen you,
Yeah.
and I saw you. And my good friend Omar at CTV knows you,
Yeah.
so we were talking about you, and then I saw you coming in one day. Very quick story, just akin to what Nabil, just
Yeah.
to dovetail off
Like
Nabil.
a sink or swim story?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So I got hired at CP24 in May of 2009. So just coming up on 10 years with the Bell family. And I was hired initially to be a part-time weather and traffic person. And I'm like, I don't know a thing about weather. So I literally bought like a Weather for Dummies book. I bought all this meteorology stuff just to study to be a weather specialist. Traffic, I was good. I'm a Toronto guy, so I know the ins and outs of the city. So the boss at the time said, you're going to train for a week under the meteorologist, and then we'll probably throw you in after a week or so. I'm like, okay, great. That sounds reasonable. Scary as hell, but reasonable. Day 2 of my training, boss comes up to me and goes, how's the training going? I go, yeah, it's going pretty good. Should be good in 5-6 days. He goes, all right, you're going to do the live hit in half an hour, and if you don't fall on your face, you're taking over for the rest of the day. So I had a half-hour heads up.
Wow.
To go do my first hit, and I'm like texting like my mom, being like, "I'm going to be on. Like, can you
watch this?
Can you watch this, please,
Mommy.
Yeah, mommy, please.
Or can you come down to the studio, Mom?
So you got a week. I got 30 minutes,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
crazy,
there
man.
you go. So
A little different scale, though.
very different scale. The Bills was much larger, obviously. Yes.
2010 I got to go to South Africa to watch, and the only game that I attended was Ghana versus Uruguay, and Uruguay won on like penalty kicks. And this,
Dude, that was a crazy game. That was like this it was quarters or semis,
it was the
right?
quarters. Like Ghana was the last
still
African
remember that
team
game, yeah.
in the
They should've
tournament.
won that
It was
game.
it was in South Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should have. And then there was like a handball in the box,
Yep.
and they had it should have been a goal.
That was
but then they gave him a
Luis
penalty.
Suarez, yeah.
Yes, and then Gian, what was it? Young kid's name, he was like 21 at the time, and then he missed a penalty kick, or something like that. Which forced,
Asamoah or something like that. I can't remember his name. Yeah, but you're right.
which it went. But anyway, yeah, it was cool. And the vuvuzelas on TV were so annoying, but in real life, it didn't have this. There wasn't like that cacophony of sound. It was just sounded like a burst of air, like not even that loud. But I guess it sounded like mosquitoes or not mosquitoes, bees or something on TV, and it was like super annoying. And they banned vuvuzelas in 14 and 18 and moving forward. Nabil, you're a West Coast guy. You're a Vancouver guy. Do people know your whereabouts after the Canucks lost in Game 7? And then there was an uproar. There were riots in the streets in Vancouver.
Dude, I was there.
You were there. You were the
Wait,
fire
were you
starter.
working or were you there as a fan
No,
watching Game 7?
I was there working for CBC. So I kind of like swindled my way into that gig. I was like, you should probably send me down there. So I was actually,
Were you at the game?
Probably.
Yeah. So I was there for the 4 home games.
Oh, crazy.
It was wicked, actually. CBC put me up at the Fairmont, even though I live in Vancouver. Right? Shout out to all the taxpayers. And I was there for like 2.5 weeks and stayed down there and went for the games. I was there for Game 7.
Wow.
And it was kind of crazy because like.
Were you like on location or were you in the studio for Game
No,
7?
I was
You
in
were
there.
in the building?
Yeah, I was in the building.
Oh,
press
you were at
box.
Rogers or
Yeah,
whatever
so
it was
for the
called.
four
Game
home,
7.
the 4 home games,
Yeah.
I was at the press box. But at that point, like you kind of lost your fandom a little bit because you were working for CBC at that time. I wanted to get to Hockey Night in Canada and be on the regular broadcast, and you kind of lose it a little bit. But being there for Game 7, they lost. It's like, gosh, kind of disappointed or whatever. But hey, you kind of move on, and we go outside. I was with Sonny.
Oh yeah.
Sonny Faculty
Care.
From-
yeah. He was
From
my
the Score.
producer. He was my producer.
Great
Hockey
guy.
Weekend Online. And we're walking away, and all of a sudden we were right there where everything broke out. And it's so funny because I was like, Sonny, let's get out of here, man. This is getting bad. And Sonny like couldn't take his eyes off of this thing. Sonny, who hated
It's a
Vancouver
train
by the way
wreck.
going into it, loves Vancouver after it. He would trash Vancouver and people from Vancouver, but now loves it, or loved it at that time. But it's so funny. We actually went, and then we walked towards, like there was an area at the bay where there was this huge fight that broke out. And Sonny's like, let's go check it out. I'm like, dude, let's go back to the hotel before we get stepped. Because we're in our suits and stuff too, right?
Right.
And so people are heckling you just for being, hey, suit, you know, like that kind of thing. And it was wild, man. It was really wild.
Did you guys see the kissing couple?
No, we missed out on the...
Missed it.
on
That
the- on-
epic photo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one of the greatest photos. I mean, we probably don't I just remembered it, but it's not something that's like on our consciousness
I
anymore.
missed out
right?
on the soft porn, but I got all those dudes fighting.
Yeah, Sonny was actually the first producer I ever interned for. That was at the Score.
At the Score,
I
yeah.
interned for The Spin for Steve Cooliest, and Sonny was the producer.
That's his
Which
guy,
was a
man.
version
Yeah.
oh no, that was the news show. It wasn't the ice surfing show, right?
No, I think it was after ice surfing, and then The Spin became Hardcore Hockey Talk.
Right.
And
Yes.
then-
on
yeah.
Sirius.
It's kind of
right.
crazy the connection we all have. Like we've all worked with somebody or know somebody in the industry. 'Cause
It's a
small in Canada, but still.
and sadly only getting smaller too, right?
Yeah, it's
True.
Yeah.
What is your fandom like now? Like when you worked at TSN for 3
years,
three
yeah.
years, and I same question to both. Like, what is your fandom like now? Do you still hold on to your childhood teams, or do you just watch sports more broadly and don't particularly root for a team because now you're behind the curtain and you see some of the machinations of how sports works, and you hear more things about conflicts or payrolls, or like one team might be in it not to win but just to make money. Like how's your fandom been adjusted since you've worked in sports?
I think I definitely had to park it when I was working specifically in sports, right? Especially when you're working for one of the nationals, like the Score or TSN, especially when you're on air at TSN, you really have to park it because people are really touchy about their sports, right? Unless it's, listen, if you're doing a Raptors pack or you're reading highlights for a Jays pack or Raptors pack, you can throw in a little extra sauce because these are the only teams in Canada.
Right.
But man, you better be careful if you're reading a Montreal Canadiens pack or a Leafs pack, or people will really detect any little tone and be like, oh, I heard that. Oh, you're a Flames fan, I can tell. Or you hate the Flames.
Right.
People get really personal. The one thing I like about being back at local now, like being at a Toronto station, I'm born and raised in Toronto. I am a die-hard Toronto sports fan through and through across the board. And I can show it now, right? Like I can
You can say
I can
we or
say
us.
that. I can do that now, which I really miss because I did have to park that stuff when I was at TSN.
I 100% agree. Like we have some people who don't, which is fine. It's your own choice. But like you did hockey when you were there. I've done hockey when I was there, and so when I am here, and so it's one of those things where you're right. Like people will jump on you real quick, and they automatically assume you're a Toronto guy, right? Like I'm not a Toronto guy. Oh, you're a Leafs fan, and it's funny because like again, I grew up in Vancouver.
Yeah.
I'm not a Canucks fan. I don't really care. Like I want the Leafs to do well only because it's good for our job, right? It's a little more exciting. And now my son is a Leafs fan, but he's born in Toronto.
Nice.
We had this discussion. My wife is converted to a Leafs fan. We've been
Is
here
your wife
long
also
enough.
from BC?
Yeah, she's
Oh,
from
okay.
BC. So we've been here long enough.
So would you say you have a team now, or are you totally neutral?
As far as hockey,
Yeah.
I'm neutral. I don't
Neutral?
care. I don't really care. But like basketball, yeah, I like the Raptors. So
Yeah.
obviously, you have that fandom towards fandom's not the right word, but you want to see the Raptors do well, right?
Yeah.
So when they get knocked out of the playoffs every year, it's just like, come on, man, you got to be kidding me, like. So I'm more invested. I think that's the way I should
Right.
put it. I'm more invested. Yeah, I do work on Raptors broadcasts every so often, but like you're a little more invested towards the Raptors, I think.
I was talking to PJ Tucker the other day, and I brought up like the last time I saw him, it was his birthday. We'll just say that.
Okay.
And
It's more to that story.
and he was just the other day. He was just talking about how he believed that they had the pieces.
Yeah.
And then just LeBron just like ripped the heart out of the whole city. I mean, I think that was a part of that like 10-0 run, like LeBron had beaten the Raptors 10 straight. So in that was like this era where PJ Tucker was here, and he was brought in to be the defensive stopper because DeMar Carroll was supposed to be that guy, but never really materialized to be that guy. And I reminded him, and I reminded the other day Norm Powell had a charity bowling event. And I reminded Patrick McCaw and OG Anunoby about like the mild PTSD that Toronto has. It's not quite as bad as like Cubs fans because that was 108 years before they won, and the Red Sox for a long time had been this heartbroken fan base until they've won friggin' everything this century. But they just they sort of looked at me weird because I am weird, and I was like super like animated about it, like, man, the city's blah, blah, blah. And I suppose I have, in reference to fandom, I have a little bit of it, but my fandom changes because of my experiences with athletes. So I find that I root for guys more so than root for their teams, because guys will move around and whatever, and I'm like, okay, I'll change allegiances and I'll root for my guy based on the interactions that I have. And that's I probably shouldn't be like that. Today's episode of the Cabbie Presents podcast featuring Nabil Karim and Gurdeep Ahluwalia is brought to you by the Cabbie Presents Archives, baby! The TSN YouTube channel has years of fun to go experience. I know you haven't seen everything, so spend some time down the rabbit hole. Go check out Cabbie Presents episodes you haven't seen, or take one of the 17 quizzes from Bar Down. One last thing. 5 stars are available to rate this podcast, so do what you do best. Click on 5. Back to Nabil and Gurdeep.
You got a real cool story, though. I think like the fact that you've carved this unique niche out, right? And your interactions with guys is so different. It's so funny to see Cabbie go. And for people who don't know, when you see Cabbie in the locker room, and he's approaching a guy, they're like happy to see you.
I mean,
no, come on. For the most part, you're
once in a
gonna
while.
get a
Not
dab. You're gonna get, hey, what's up, kind of thing. Whereas when they see us, like
We're
and that
media.
scrum and
We're
media,
the- yeah.
it's such a disappointment
Yeah.
to see like any of our faces. And so I was always like, man, it's good to be Cabbie. Like, I know, and not every interview probably goes great, or not everybody's
No,
gonna
they
like you.
definitely don't.
But the relationships you built, it's just obviously credit to you. That's pretty cool, man. Like what you've been able to do.
Thank you. I was pitching this idea the other day. The Tampa Bay Lightning were in town, and then we were at a dinner or whatnot, and I never met Kucherov before, who's a stud, and he was like the most. He's like the most reluctant star. I mean, he's not a mainstream name, but obviously in hockey, he's probably going to win the Hart Trophy
MVP
this
for
year.
sure. Yeah.
It's just a monster, and he was just like a regular sized guy. Like, like hockey dudes and baseball dudes are relatively anonymous. Across the country because they just look like regular dudes. And as you mentioned, like if you're Blake Griffin, you're 6'9", everybody knows you do. So and he'd never met me before, so I was kind of just telling him a little bit of what I do. And I was like, yo, man, I want to, like, we'll play some games. I'll invent a game. And he started to come around. I was like, okay, this sounds more interesting. And then when I was talking to Stamkos, I was like, God, when are we going to do our next bit? And he's like, the acting bit was the best one. I was like, well, the target practice when we did this target, we were at like Bay in Wellington. But I'm like, you're right. The acting one was the best one. I'm like, what are we going to do next one? He's like, Cabbie, we can't do too many because I don't want to distill the product.
Oh wow,
like,
that's a polite way of saying get lost.
Yeah,
bro.
but I was like, man, Stamkos, that was like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, we did another one on the ice. The kid's memory is amazing. Like he can like remember goals. Like, oh yeah, describe the goal you scored against New Jersey in 2017. He'd be like, oh yeah, it's a 2-on-1, and from the left side, it was a one-timer or whatever. But I finally convinced him that I was like, okay, I'll come up with something, and like this is part of the hardest part of the gig is like once I get someone to commit, then it's like, okay, what's the idea I'm gonna do? Like, and I look at Corden and I look at Fallon and Kimmel. I'm like, these guys do these amazing bits. Like, Fallon does these games and Corden does these games.
Dude,
and
they got a
sing.
team of people.
Yeah,
I know
they're-
they got like 20
They got the
dudes.
machine.
You got
behind
you
them.
and whoever else is behind
It's
your producer.
it's my
or whatever.
man D
Yeah,
and
yeah.
myself.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
like
yeah,
our
yeah.
two brains,
Yeah.
and occasionally I'll workshop some stuff with like some friends in like group text. I'm like, can you guys give me a line here or there?
Yeah.
Oh, and I was like, yo, Stammer, like, let's do something during the playoffs. He goes, no, it has to be before the playoffs. I'm like, why? He goes, listen, I gotta lock in. I was like, okay, so hopefully in the next like 3 weeks I'll get both. Like maybe Kucherov will come over to his house and we'll do something together where.
By the way, the bit Corden just did with Beckham, I don't know if you guys saw that. That was
The
unbelievable.
statue?
Yeah, but I want
so good.
Cavs, not to get too fanboy on you, but I also been watching you since I was an intern at the Score and admired you,
Thanks,
and
man.
you obviously just crushing. You've done some amazing stuff.
Okay, let's keep this part short.
Yeah, okay. Two little questions here. Your stuff with Kobe obviously is legendary.
Thanks,
But
man.
who is like the best chemistry you've ever had if it's not Kobe? And have you ever had an athlete that's been so into the bits that they're texting you, being like, Cabbie, I got an idea for a bit? Has that athlete ever come to you with something?
Yes. Okay, so the best chemistry, yeah, Kobe was remarkable because he knew early on how the dynamic was going to work. I was going to be the butt of the jokes, and I would just give him softballs, and he just knocked them out the park. And also because he trusted, it took me a little while to gain his trust, but because he trusted me, then he can lower his guard, and then we can do, all these dumb. And that was like one of my, actually, it might have been one of the early adopters of props. Like I brought him like CDs and like pillows. I cut a key for his house, for my house once.
CDs.
CDs. That's how long.
That's
Like 06. I brought like CDs. I'm like, oh, this is the Black album. This is Alicia Keys. Like all these different CDs. Aaron Rodgers has stepped into that sort of void that Kobe left, and he's just really sharp. And I've written some things, and I've written some things for Rodgers, like sent it to him, like, yo, I'd love to do one of these, or like this one's my favorite of like the sketches, and it just hasn't worked out timing wise. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going back to the drawing board. I'll every year I'll just send like 3 new ideas, storyboards. Like I just want to dress it up, and hopefully this year we'll be able to connect on something. But
are you still in touch with Kobe? Is that
no, not that. So the other day I sent an email. No response. It was Kobe, serious question. May I introduce you at the Hall of Fame? Whenever you're inducted, I might be 20. Well, you retired in 17, so I think, is it 5 years?
Yeah, I think it's 5 years.
Later, okay, so 2022 or whatever. So no response. And I was like, yeah, I'm a great speechwriter. Like I can do this justice. And also it's like I was trying to placate like Plato's ego. Like, listen, it's way out of this is in right field. Like no one would expect this. They might expect, Magic to introduce you or Jerry Buss. Like me. Like it's you're your own man. All this kind of stuff. No response. Which is usually how it goes.
Are you on like texting direct status with these athletes, or do you have to go through people? Are you direct like?
A lot of times with people, but some guys I go straight to. Bats had Jose Batista had a deal with Booster Juice, and I think he was in early with Uber, and he's like, "Yo, can you let's think of something we can do with either Booster Juice, which is I think a Canadian brand. It's like a juice company.
Yeah.
For people who aren't in the city, and then Uber, obviously everybody knows Uber. And I never came up with like I thought of like a van, not just like a black car, but like something like a almost like a milk van, like one of those old school ones. But I didn't come up with anything good. Someone else had a clothing thing about like made to order shirts, and I also failed them too. We didn't come up with it. One time I wrote a treatment for someone who was going into free agency, and wrote like 3 pages, like, okay, this chapter, and then this, you have the conversation with your parents here, and then you go to this in the gym, and then you're there, and he never did it. And later, when he signed with his new team, he's like, thank God I didn't do that thing, because I was an emotional wreck, and it was like, I was like, really, like, we have more of a language now to express ourselves emotionally or whatever, and there's more soft spaces to land, but I didn't expect it from this one hockey dude that he's like, I was an emotional wreck. I mean, it's a free agency period. It's like, you're going to get a fat new deal, and I guess as a fan, you think of the monetary compensation and, the possibility of going to a new team and trying to win there. I have a segment called This is G-Rated. I'm not a G-rated person, but this segment is G-rated. I'd like you guys to reveal your current guilty pleasures, be it either TV shows, trashy TV shows, a docuseries, junk food, something that you're like, you do, but you wouldn't be the most vocal about the fact that you consume either this entertainment or these terrible snacks, which are delicious. Nabil, what do you got?
Like I try to keep it pretty healthy, like kind of probably like you try to keep
that
it
malnourished diet you're on.
Yeah. But then
Just eating vitamin D?
But for my son though, I buy him stuff kids eat, that kind of thing. So I'll come home after a show late at night and just starving. Goldfish and hot sauce, man.
Goldfish and hot sauce.
Like sriracha or just like the Nando's?
Yeah, like a Frank's Red Hot, a
extra hot. You get the
something
extra
like
hot.
that. Yeah, dump it on it. Just and if you like sauce, just mix it up.
So wait, do you eat with a spoon or do you eat with your fingers?
Like cereal.
Yo, that actually sounds amazing.
Yeah,
that sounds really good.
And I told Natasha about this, and she was disgusted.
Yeah, I think it might be a brown thing.
She looked at me. She's like what? It's like cereal? And I said, yeah, well, kind of. Like I eat it, and I actually eat it out of his little bowls. I don't put it in a big bowl, so I don't eat too much of it. But I'll put goldfish, and then I'll just dump hot sauce all over, so it is soaking wet. So it looks like, if you'd order wings, when they come out like super wet.
Yeah.
But you got to eat that quick before it gets too nasty, right? It's like cereal. You can't let it get too nasty.
Goldfish are going to stay crunchy. Those stay crunchy in Armageddon, bro.
Really? Okay. It's been a while since I've eaten goldfish.
It's something to try. If you're really wild, you throw in a little ketchup on the side and then in that mix and... Yeah, that's probably my thing right now.
This sounds more like Nabil's 420 snack, doesn't it? This is a different
I
segment.
suppose we can talk about it. I mean,
it is definitely my snack after 4 or 5 whiskeys, for sure. 100%. Couple Fireballs.
Fireball whiskey.
I can't believe you drink Fireball, my dude.
Dude, I'm telling you, like it's the perfect party drink because people are like, I don't want. Okay, it tastes good, but what they don't realize for people who don't drink it is that after 2 or 3 of them, you get turned pretty quick. Like it takes like about 20 minutes, and then like everything's.
Well, Caps, what the listeners don't know is if that's the rule, the party foul, you roll in late, you do 2, you'd be 2 or 3 shots of that deep now. You were 15 minutes late rolling into this pod, right?
That's right.
Yeah, for the next one.
It was 10 minutes
What was
late.
the penalty shot you said?
For the next one. Apparently, a couple penalty shots.
And I'm driving, so.
What is either the unhealthy snack that you are currently, it's your guilty pleasure, or TV or YouTube?
It's probably like kale.
I got
baked kale,
Okay, all right.
olive oil, and friggin'.
I got 2. I got 2, and they're legit. On the eating front, every Saturday night, I sit down for Hockey Night in Canada, and I order an entire pie, a pizza pie, to myself.
Well, which
don't share
Pizza
it.
Nova?
No. So here's the thing. I'm big on variety, right? With travel, with eating, I always want something new. So my goal is to try like every pizza place in the city. So I order somewhere different every Friday night, and I smash
Saturday.
Sorry, Saturday night. Every Saturday. You know,
Sounds like a suspect story, man.
yeah, Saturday night.
He's got
sorry.
his days wrong. He's
Saturday
calling it a
night.
pizza pie.
Listen, hey, I've been
Who
on-
the
making
hell
this up to
calls it a
sound cool?
pizza pie? We don't live in New
Yeah.
York.
Also, who does call it pizza?
I call it a pizza pie, all right? And yes, so my current favorite is I'm big on my Queen Margarita.
Yeah,
like
that's
my
dope.
Maker pizza. They do some good work.
I haven't had Maker yet, or Blaze.
Maker's good. I haven't tried Blaze yet. And in terms of the show, I'm going to support the family here on this one. I am big, and you guys are going to rip me on this. I shouldn't even admit it. This Is Us, man.
Oh, dude, I watched that
I
too.
am a
I watched that
big
too. I'm not
This
gonna
Is
lie.
Us fan.
I'm not gonna lie.
You guys enjoy crying every week?
Dude, every Tuesday night I give myself a nice cry, and it is amazing.
Dude,
it's
it's
free
a
therapy,
great
Cabbie.
show.
You try it, and you'll feel better about life.
Man.
You know, you go back and you ask me that question about the Bachelor watch with my wife.
Yeah.
She did not make me watch that, but she was watching This Is Us, and she's like, "You got to see this show." And then I was kind of forced because she was binge watching it. So I'm like,
You
okay.
can't binge watch that show. It's too emotional, man.
That is
Yeah, so she started late though. That's why. Yeah. So she was doing 2-3 episodes a night kind of thing. And so I caught in at like the 2nd or 3rd episode. I'm like, I'll just sit with her and watch. Hooked, man. I watch it without her now. I don't even.
See, at least Nabil has the built-in excuse. His wife got him onto it. Dude, I'm single. I chose to watch that right from the get-go.
But wait, is this strategic? Because you are a single man and you're out and about and
You could be the actor, dude.
That's a
You could be
great
the son.
connection
You could be
point.
the tall
That guy's
white kid.
great. Justin Hartley. Yeah, he does some fine work. No, I watch it so.
He does well for himself.
Cabbie is appalled that I know the name of.
Of the actor, yes.
And
yeah.
we've
Like the
also-
actual actor, not the character. He doesn't even, he's looked this guy up clearly.
We've had the cast on the show too, and they're awesome.
Oh,
Like
okay,
we
well,
had
then
Chrissy
that's-
Metz, we had Sterling K. Brown, and they're just the nicest people too. So that just, you say you meet the athletes, you become fans of the.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
like
you
they're
got a
just
lot of good people on your show, by the way.
We
Yeah.
have some awesome people on the
Yeah.
show. And the great part is whenever we get sports dudes on the show, I do more sports interviews with CP24 Breakfast than I did at TSN. Because at TSN, everyone's a sports dude.
Right.
At
Right.
TSN, at 24, when we get a sports interview, they're like, oh, you were at TSN, you do the sports interview. So it's kind of a strange twist of fate, but I'll take it.
This Is Us.
Yes. Cabs, listen, you got to promise me one thing.
No,
You're
I'm
going to
not
give it a
in.
try.
I'm not gonna do it.
Shout out Mandy Moore.
Yes, Mandy
Don't forget,
Moore.
don't sleep on Mandy
Dude,
Moore.
she
man.
is out-
She's
she looks
outstanding.
great.
Okay, wait. So you guys are saying two different things. She is outstanding, her
Yeah.
talent, and you're like, she looks
No,
great.
no, she's gorgeous. Like, she is.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
she's like girl next door, like.
Yes, but that's the appeal.
I mean,
Cabbie doesn't want
Not a
to go.
fan, eh?
No? Cabbie, please watch one episode.
No,
Start at
man.
the beginning.
I
Don't
don't
knock
need
it till
that
you tried
therapy,
it.
Gurdeep.
Don't knock it till you tried it. I'm surprised your girl hasn't made you
It'll
watch
probably-
she watches it. She
Yeah, it'll
is
connect
full-
with you at
all in.
some way. It'll
Yeah.
connect with you at some level. They have the story angles of it. There's so many different story angles.
Yeah.
One of those will catch
Beautifully intertwined, man. Yeah.
I watch heart-wrenching documentaries if I need a release. You know what I mean? And my friend explained Netflix the other day.
you. What?
What? Can
Look,
we
a
rack
good
that back?
purge. You know, when not like guys.
Dude,
Let's keep it clean, all right?
come on. You got the premium account. You're not watching HBO for that.
This is meant
Shout
to
out
be the
to
G-rated
Brazzers.
segment.
yeah,
I mean-
shout out to the premium account.
Yo, remember when Kanye
$9.99
was
a
on?
month.
Remember when Kanye was on Kimmel and he goes, "I watch Black." That's too much. That's too much.
G-rated segment.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, sorry. I violated the rules of my own segment.
Cabs,
G-rated.
what's yours though? What's your guilty pleasure? You got to share.
So my friend the other day is like, Netflix is like the mall of entertainment.
Yeah.
It's like there's something for everyone. There's a food court for your trashy stuff. There's an Aldo. There's a H&M. There's a Zara. hour. Like there's something for everybody. And I was like, wow, that's perfect. What am I watching right now? I was into those like docuseries, like the crime dramas. Like
That's not a guilty pleasure. That stuff's amazing.
No, but like it's a horrible crimes.
Yeah,
But then I was like fascinated. I
Have
was
you
like,
seen
watching.
Making a Murder?
Yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah,
Making a
that's
Murder,
a great
The Innocent
show.
Man,
Yeah,
Abducted in Plain Sight, The Neighbor.
Yeah.
I heard it's crazy. I have not seen that, but I heard the parents are just.
Now I need a palate cleanse, so I'm gonna go like nature documentaries. There's a new one called Dynasty I'm gonna watch. Like they follow some lions, some tigers, some what do you mean?
Are you
Some
serious?
penguins.
Did anyone watch that one narrated by Will Smith? I heard it's a little off.
It's
like a nature
rock
one.
Or something?
Yeah. I heard it's weird because it's Will Smith. It's like I don't want him narrating my nature. He's not Morgan Freeman.
How do you guys feel about the Aladdin trailer? Last thing
I
before
like
we get
it
you
better
guys
than
out of
that
here.
photo that came out. I think
The
that,
orange all blue.
yeah, so he's not all blue in the movie, clearly.
No, I think he is
No,
all
for
blue.
the no, you see the trailer, he's not all blue.
Okay, so here's the thing. What
No.
you see in the trailer, apparently, I don't know why I dug deeper on this, but apparently he goes through like different machinations in the movie. So what you
Right.
see in the trailer isn't the only version of him you
Right.
get. But the picture looks like it's just like a guy who dressed up for Halloween, like the Genie, with like very like basic makeup. It doesn't
Yeah,
look
but
great.
we haven't like he's probably gonna fly and be able to do tricks and disappear and
He's-
much like the animated one,
Yeah.
in 1992 or whatever it was.
If there's one guy to follow like Robin Williams, like he was never going to be Robin. Obviously, Robin's so like iconic of that character, but he's kind of got that. He's got the gifted jab and everything. We all grew up with Will. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I know he's had a lot of L's recently as far as movies. Like he's my favorite actor, but yet his last few movies, it's like
He's really hit or miss. He either knocks it out of the park,
the
or it's
Netflix
like,
one.
or you
man,
get Wild Wild West.
You see the
I
Netflix-
like the Netflix
Bright?
one.
Is it Bright? That one you're talking about?
Bright,
Bright.
yeah.
I
God, I
didn't see
stayed
it.
home on a Friday night, like competing for the
Come on,
biggest
man.
loser in Toronto, and I was in the top 4. I just missed the podium, and I watched that. I'm like,
I couldn't finish it.
Okay, this is your guilty
With-
pleasure.
with
Now
the
the
orc.
truth comes out.
Yeah,
This is the guilty pleasure.
terrible Netflix. Like Bird Box was good for like a Netflix movie. Like shout out
Right.
to my dude Zelly who gave me that line. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was good for Netflix.
Yeah.
So I'll watch those
Right.
based on the actors. I'll watch those movies. Will Smith. I met him one time. He's super nice and he's
I
very
was jealous,
generous.
man. I remember I messaged you. Like again, like
I was so nervous though, man. When I meet these icons,
Yeah.
bro, and you know when you're interviewing people, the windows you get 4 hard minutes, 6 minutes max. I mean, you do TV segments, and obviously you do as well. So the time limit is so short. So you have to just like I have to kind of bury my fandom and then just get my questions out and not like flub my lines or mess up. And I was like, my heart was like, it was like
was
talking
good,
to
man.
like
I
the
told you it
hottest
was good.
girl from my city. Was talking to like Will
It's
Smith.
like you were talking to Hillary, not Will, basically.
oh, dude, Hillary was so nice.
Were you an Ashley guy or
Ashley
a Hillary?
Oh, Hillary, dude.
Remember
Because Ashley
Banks?
in those late seasons?
She grew
Yeah.
up. Remember, she did like a music video with
Yeah,
was
Will
it Cheney
produced that.
or something?
Will produced that, I think. No, it wasn't. It was with Lord Tariq and Peter Guns.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, she
Yeah,
used the
yeah,
sample. Yeah.
yeah.
But she didn't she do or maybe she was in. Who was the other guy that's kind of like Chingy, like that same kind of poppy hip hop?
I think you're thinking it Rudy from Cosby Show?
Oh,
she
maybe-
was in the video. She was in the video.
Yes,
yeah.
Rudy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's right.
By the way, we had Joseph Marcel, Jeffrey Butler on the other day on
Oh, I saw
CP2
that on
for
your
breakfast.
Instagram.
Yeah, man, that was
Is he
crazy.
acting? Like, what's
okay,
he-
did you guys think he was actually? I thought he was American, putting on that like British accent. He's legit British.
No, he's
I
legit
didn't know
British.
that
Yeah, yeah.
because it was such a like overdone accent
Yeah,
on the
it was
show.
kind of
Right.
cartoonish, but he
Yeah.
was incredible.
But I was shocked to find out he actually was British. But he was charming, man. He was great.
so
yeah.
what is he doing these days?
He had a movie that he was pumping.
What's it called? Like, did you see
Oh
it or did they
man,
send it?
you put me on the spot. I didn't do the interview, but I forget. I think. it
But
was-
you got a photo with him on.
I got a
put on
photo
the
with
gram.
him. Yes,
As though
I
you
think
did the
I
interview.
think the
Yeah,
movie
right,
was
right.
called like Hero or My Hero that he was involved in. But yeah, don't quote me on that.
I have a segment called Down Your Rabbit Hole. It is as pervasive as it sounds. Down your rabbit hole. So fellas, grab your cellular devices.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Nabil, you go first.
Like search history? Ah, dude, I deleted that before I got
No,
here.
guy. So open up your YouTube app.
Yeah.
And none of us are aware of the algorithm that YouTube has
right,
when
right.
it suggests videos to us, but they just appear in our feed. So then please read to us the top 5 videos, read the title, and then read the YouTube channel. Maybe give a thought as to why you think
Right.
YouTube had suggested that video.
So I got spooky and scary stories for kids from Steve and Maggie.
Okay, that makes sense.
Hello, don't forget to check out Peppa Pig Live.
Come on, these are really on your YouTube feed?
Well, he's
Okay.
how old's Adam?
Here's the thing. So they're all going to be kids things. They're all
Yeah.
kids. That's because I've kind of figured out this hack where my kid wakes up. He wakes up before 7. He comes in the room. He's like, Dad, can I watch my show? So he'll come in, jump in between us in bed, and like, I can't get up before 7. There's no way. Like, you know, I'm going to sleep at 2:30 or something coming home from work. So I'll put on YouTube on my phone. I'll put like Peppa Pig or whatever it is. I'll start off with Peppa Pig or something like that. And then I'll give it to him. I'll turn the volume down, and he just watches it, and he'll scan through and click on different things. And by the end of it, he's watching some kid playing with like figurines. It's terrible parenting.
You gotta be careful with that, though. There's some real like.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Dice.
but if he's in that world of kids' videos.
No, I'm saying there are some people out there who do some nefarious things and link videos that aren't kids' videos on that. Like
you're
clicking
right,
on
you're
things.
right.
Like I've seen my nephews watching some stuff they should not be watching, just innocently starting, you know, on
Peppa Pig and then ending up.
Yeah,
you know,
you gotta be careful.
Salt and pepper, salt and pepper, something. Yeah. Okay, keep going. So those are you had 2.
I just got kids ones, man.
Oh, keep going. But you've only give us. You got to get to 5.
Deeper down the rabbit hole.
Paw Patrol Ultimate Rescue Construction Truck and Figurine Set unboxing.
Wow.
Peppa Pig English episodes. And Ben and Holly. I don't know if you guys know about Ben and Holly, London Kingdom.
No, I'm good though.
This is my life, man. Okay. You guys seem disgusted, but I have a kid. He's 4. He's turning 4. Okay?
He's already 4, eh? Wow.
He's turning 4 in June. Yeah.
Gurdy, what do you got?
Okay, now is this just like right when you open your time with
right
the homepage?
when you open, yeah.
You guys are gonna be disgusted with me. 32-minute home cardio workout with no equipment. Okay, listen, I was
just
on.
take your shirt off.
I was on.
Just take your shirt off.
No, but here's the thing. I was just in
pack, my dude.
I was in Panama for a bachelor party, and there was minimal access to a gym, so I was doing this stuff like just because
you're that guy on vacation.
Listen, it balances me out. I need it. I'm that guy.
I'll do it on vacation too. I won't probably watch a YouTube video, but I'll just do like something. Yeah,
I'll tell you. I started off alone on an island, but by the end of the BP. There was one other guy working out with me out of the 11.
No chicks. Again, no chicks, right? No hot girls allowed. Just
0.
me and this guy. We gotta
it's
get
all
serious.
like 20-minute full body home workout, like HIIT home workout, resistance band work. Yeah, it's lame, Cabs. Sorry.
That was well. I mean, it fits your lifestyle and fits your brand as this young, athletic.
It doesn't get paid though, bro.
Internet,
He still doesn't get paid.
In search of an agent to get him deals at local fitness centers.
I'm serious about that. I need help, boys.
Embarrassingly on mine, Seth Meyers, Trump lies about Paul Manafort. Tim Apple, a closer look. Tim Apple.
That was so great. Just, you gotta get to the point real quick.
Yes. Speak for yourself. Colbert videos. Speaker Pelosi puts impeachment on hold. Then I got a Maple Leafs using NHL investigation to adjust larger narrative. I think we know what that's about. Do these things to survive if you get stranded on an island. The infographic show. And then finally, Spittin' Chicklets interviews Keith and Brian Yandel and Teddy Purcell.
So that's 5. Pretty well rounded.
It's like late night. So you have kids videos. I have late night videos. Gurdeep has health and fitness.
I forgot to mention, my top one's actually Cabbie Presents. I forgot to mention that. Sorry.
Now that
that's the correct answer.
You guys are already
here. The fact that I'm on the podcast, I might actually listen to it today. It's the first time being on, first time listening.
First time won't be the last time.
Dude, it's so funny. I sent out a tweet one time. Jalen Jacoby's my favorite podcast. I love that podcast. And, I like dabble in other ones. And I have heard your podcast from online, but I just sent out a tweet one day, and I got people from our work, like James Duffy, because I was like, "Hey, what are some other good podcasts out there?" James responded back,
"Of course.
Have you ever heard my podcast?" And I was like, I responded back, "Never listened." Jay and Dan, I used to listen to all the time. I don't listen as much anymore, but I used to listen to them religiously.
You're big on your Bobcast as well.
Yeah, I've never heard that one.
We're not throwing shade. Just like he's got some kids videos.
I'm so bitter. I pitched a podcast. It would have been great, but everyone is a podcast.
You just have to make more guest appearances on this one, and then you're just gonna branch out and just become a bigger.
How many
years
have you been doing this for?
This is year 7, but it hasn't been consistent.
Okay,
that's the problem.
No, that's cool. So 7 years in, I got.
Wow. Cabbie cycled through everyone he knew, and he's like, "Oh,
dude,
crap."
do you understand how many people said no before he called us today?
That is a lie. Listen, what's not a lie, as you guys are very talented dudes and great at what you do. And I appreciate the time that you guys spent here on the Cabbie Presents podcast. And if I'm taking away anything, it's I need some more health and fitness in my life. And I definitely don't need This Is Us in my life. Because you guys will watch enough for the 3 of us.
When are you getting married?
Later.
I'll cry all your tears for you, Cabbie. Don't you worry.
We'll talk after.
Nabil Karim Gurdeep Ahluwalia, thank you for being on, fellas.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.